although I'm not sure, it might have been a Friday. And many, many people came, a very enthusiastic group of devotees. And this was the topic I spoke about, and the feedback was, that was the best. So when I was asked about what to speak about here, I said, let's do this. There's several parts to this little presentation, but I think we'll start with in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a section where Krishna, it's the heat of the summer in Vrindavan, and anyone that has been in North India knows what the heat of the summer is like. It's like an oven. That's what the kids tell me. They go there, Maharaj, it was so hot. You could have cooked a chapati on your bedpost. It's so hot. So there's a description found in Krishna's walking through the forest of Vrindavan with Balaram during the summer, and he's taking notice of the trees, and he's just admiring the trees. Generally, we take trees kind of for granted, but trees in Vrindavan, they're very special. So I'll just read the text. This is in the childhood pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, herding cows with Balaram and the cowherd boyfriends. Then the sun's heat became intense. Lord Krishna saw that the trees were acting as umbrellas by shading him. And thus he spoke as follows to his boyfriends. Lord Krishna said, "Oh, Stoka Krishna and Angshu, O Sridham Subal and Arjuna, O Vishala Brisham, and O Jasvi Devaprastha and Varutapa, just see these greatly fortunate trees whose lives are completely dedicated to the benefit of others. Even while tolerating the wind, rain, heat, there's no snow in Vrindavan, they protect us from these elements." There's a nice painting of Krishna and Balaram in the forest of Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada, when I say Srila Prabhupada, do you know what that means? Okay. When Srila Prabhupada was a young man, one of the things that he did in his relationship with his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta, Bhaktisiddhanta used to engage in, for 30 days, to this day, our ISKCON devotees are also doing the same, but he took groups of devotees to the various places of Krishna's pastimes, and in the evening time they would hold a pandal, and then questions and answer session at the end after the pandal, just discussing about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. So Prabhupada went on one of those. There's a very famous exchange, famous within ISKCON, a famous exchange where Bhaktisiddhanta gave Prabhupada some very specific instructions. It happened to be at Radha Kund, at the northern end of Govardhan Hill. As they were walking around Radha Kund, Bhaktisiddhanta turned to him and said, "If you ever get money, print books," and spoke about the Calcutta temple made of marble that was donated to him, Bagh Bazar area of Calcutta. And he said, although the building is worth very much, unfortunately some of my followers there just disputing over who would get which room in the Bagh Bazar temple. Better just sell the marble and print literature, because that literature will make people Krishna conscious. So he spoke like that. But if you ever get money, print books. So Prabhupada followed that nice instruction. But Prabhupada said during that period of time, this was post-World War I, just around 19, or maybe it was pre-World War I. Anyway, in that time frame, 1910, 1914, in that period of time, Prabhupada said that the forests of Vrindavan were so thick that you could walk all the way from our Krishna Balaram temple to Govardhan Hill and not see the sunshine. So many trees. Can you imagine? So it was literally forest of Vrindavan. It's one of the 12 forests. And so Krishna appreciated the trees, and the trees were there to serve Krishna. Just see how these trees are maintaining every living entity. Their birth is successful. Their behavior is just like that of great personalities for anyone who asks anything from a tree. Never goes away disappointed, meaning trees are simply interested in serving others. These trees fulfill everyone's desires with their leaves, flowers, and fruits, their shade, roots, bark, and wood, and also their fragrance, sap, ashes, pulp, and shoots. Seated under one little tree here, this is the cowherd boys having their lunch, and laser pointer doesn't work on that screen. So they would play a game. The boys would have someone close their eyes and then pop something in their mouth, and just by chewing on that something, they were supposed to say what the food was. And sometimes they would have Krishna close his eyes and pop some food in his mouth, and sometimes they would put a flower in his mouth. And they would all laugh, and Krishna would laugh, and playing like little children beneath the trees of Vrindavan. This is a very famous place in Vrindavan, Bandiravan, where several very significant pastimes took place. Dhenukasura was killed, and there was a place where there was a wedding of Radha and Krishna beneath a very large tree. In fact, that place is still there in Vrindavan. Very nice, Bandiravan. Then Krishna says, it is the duty of every living being to perform welfare activities for the benefit of others with his life, wealth, intelligence, and words. And this is for me personally at least, that's a very significant verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, because Srila Prabhupada gave a whole lecture on just this one verse one time. I didn't understand the context, because he didn't give the context where Prabhupada was glorifying trees, that trees are like that. They like to give service to others. That's their whole existence, is in a very humble and tolerating mood. They just serve others. But here Krishna is saying, saintly people should also do like that, just live to serve others. The way that Prabhupada explained this was that when we're living our lives as devotees and we're interacting with other people, where we're sharing our devotion, or a life of devotion, or the message of a life of devotion to Krishna with others, there's some way that we can gauge our success or the effectiveness of that interaction. And topmost is if someone becomes so inspired they give their whole life in service to Krishna. Many times I've been asked, how did I come in contact with Krishna consciousness, or how to become a devotee? That human interest kind of question. And for a young Western person, of course, the time was very different. But also, Srila Prabhupada being present before us, or on earth before us, was also very, very special. And without the long story, just as a college student, my first meeting with Prabhupada was in a crowd. He came to the university campus where I was a student. I didn't know who he was. But he was on a little tour of different colleges with at that time famous American poet named Allen Ginsberg, who had gone to India, had some liking for kirtan. Somehow that happened. And they were introduced, Allen Ginsberg was introduced to Srila Prabhupada, so this bright idea came from somewhere that they should visit some universities in America and together chant Hare Krishna. So when I went into the room, I was just walking through one evening, walking through the Student Union building. I didn't know anything about anything, but there was a crowd of people around a door, like a hall, Millard Fillmore room. And so I kind of wiggled my way through the people crowded around the door, went inside, and there was Prabhupada on a platform, a little stage with Allen Ginsberg. Allen Ginsberg was playing his bongo drums, and Prabhupada was playing kartals and singing. And this went on for some time. And then eventually Prabhupada spoke a little bit, very, very briefly, and then invited everyone to come to the center, because there was a center at that time practically across the street from the campus. I didn't go to the center. I didn't know who Prabhupada was. I didn't know what had happened in my life, but something happened. My life became different after that encounter. Just hearing the sound of the holy name from the lips of a pure devotee. So, such a person may be able to, just by speaking Krishna's message of Bhagavad Gita or singing Krishna's holy name, inspire someone to give their life to Krishna's service. Or someone may be inspired to give their intelligence and apply their intelligence in how to something, give the message of Krishna to others. Just this past weekend, there were a large number of devotees, about 120 devotees were present at this gathering for reaching the hearts and minds of the Western public. And one of the persons who was invited as a guest was Kaishori, and she had assisted one of the presenters in a basically like a book review on a book that's describing how to reach the hearts and minds of Western people. Well, he was a Christian preacher who developed this very effective outreach. So I asked her if she was going to be also presenting. She said, no, I'm an editor. I don't get in front of audiences and speak anything, and I don't think I have a place here other than learning from all of those people that have. So she's given her life, but specifically, she has a specific capacity of intellect. Editing writings is a gift that she has honed over the years, and she's an editor for the BBT. She's a paid or commissioned assistant for the BBT in that capacity, editing things. So someone can serve Krishna through their use of their intelligence. Somebody can, there's so many things one can do with one's intelligence. Or with one's wealth. And one becomes inspired by service to Krishna, and through the work that they perform, there's some funds that they may be able to use in Krishna's service. And then Prabhupada was going through all this in one lecture, and then said, finally, but at least everyone that we come in contact with, they should say at the end, they should think and then share with others at the end, oh, the Hare Krishna people are nice. Because if it's the other way, if they say, oh, the Hare Krishna people are bad, then it's not the Hare Krishna people are bad. Maybe one person was not acting in a proper way, with proper etiquette or speech. But then the whole Hare Krishna movement becomes colored in the mind of that person that everyone is like that. It reflects. But the converse is also. So he was saying when we're out and about, when we're moving about through society, in our occupation, or in school, or wherever one is, someone may know this person is a devotee, and if they appreciate, oh, the Hare Krishna people are nice. That's very good. We should conduct ourselves in that way, because by conducting ourselves that way, that's service, and people will, with their words, offer their words of appreciation. Even something as simple like that. I mean, they may say, oh, your prasadam is very nice. We had, there was a period of time in New York City, we had like a month and a half. You know, maybe you've seen the Festival of India, this bus that travels around with a semi behind it and different exhibits in it. The Madhuha Prabhu, Prabhupada disciple, has that service. So we made bookings for him practically every day or every alternate day in New York City, and then in colleges around for a month and a half. It was really, really wonderful. And I remember specifically, one of the events was just at the south end of City Hall. So City Hall is in Manhattan. And it's like a big building, and behind that big building there's a City Hall Park. And it kind of sticks out and kind of goes down towards the Wall Street area of Lower Manhattan. So we had a festival there with kirtan and displays and, of course, books and prasadam. So the Wall Street people, they know about prasadam somehow, so they were lined up to take prasadam. He said, you know, one man's sitting there taking his meal. A lot of people don't understand who you really are, but everybody likes your prasadam. Everyone likes your food, so you should do lots of that. People will like you. They may not understand you. You're a little puzzling to some people, but they like you because they like their food. So it's an indication of how well we're serving. This was what Prabhupada was teaching his followers. We should conduct ourselves in such a way that the word, even by words, people will be benefited if they speak favorable words about Krishna or Krishna's devotees. Anyway, for me it was a very significant lesson. And when I found this verse, I liked it very much, so I wanted to share it. And trees are like that. They just serve and they serve and they serve. We're going to hear something more about how trees serve and serve and serve. In Vrindavan, of course, vana means forest, so it means trees. And in even the trees, or the cows, or the peacocks, or the deer, or all living entities in Vrindavan, they like, with pure love and devotion, they like serving Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's another very nice example of a king who's pictured seated on his throne. His name is Ranti Dev. I'll just describe a little bit about the glories of Ranti Dev. He was renowned during his time as being very giving and charitable and serving others, although he was the king. He had this huge treasury, but he was always kindly giving and giving and giving. And then his treasury would fill, and he would give, and his treasury would fill. It's just very charitable. So, in addition to being very charitable, another quality that he had was he was very capable of austerities, and when he did his austerities, he would offer the results of his austerities to his citizens. Because when you do some austerity, some kriti or some piety, some merit of piety comes to you. So he was doing Maharaj Ambarish did a similar thing. An Ekadasi Vrata for 1 year, very strict, for the purpose of his giving merit to his citizens. So, in the case of Ranti Dev, he had the capacity for fasting for many days, like a lot of days. He made a commitment to make a fast for 100 days. Now, we would probably die or something. We'd be in the hospital at least. We tried doing something like that. Dehydrated and, finished, wiped out. But he had that capacity. So he was doing this 100 days. He's the king, isn't he? He has royal opulence, but he was doing fasting for 100 days. And on the following morning, early in the morning, it was the auspicious breaking of the fast. So they made a royal feast for him. And he sat on a royal seat, and they brought the royal feast. And just as he was about to break the fast, in came a brahmana, a sadhu. And the king was ecstatic. He got up and said, "How auspicious. Just at the time I'm to break the fast, here's a saintly man. Said, you please sit on my seat, and you break the fast first." And the sadhu was very honored. The king was asking like this, so he sat down and he ate. But he only ate half, because he knew the king was breaking his fast. And he thanked the king and left, and then the king sat down to break his fast. And just as he was about to break the fast, into the royal assembly area was a man with many puppies. And the man pleaded with the king, my puppies are very hungry. You have something to feed them. And immediately, no hesitation, the king said, yes. Here they can take what's remaining of the royal feast. And after the puppies had eaten, he sat down because there was still a glass of water. And as he was just about to break the fast drinking water, one street beggar person came and, I'm thirsty, have some water. And the king stood up and said, what great fortune. Life is meant simply for serving others. And I didn't even have to go anywhere, and the opportunity to serve others is coming to me. Providence is smiling upon me today. Surely this is my greatest fortune. Please take this water. And the man drank the water. And as you see from the upper left, these were Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and Lord Indra, who had come in disguise because they had heard of the glories of King Ranti Dev and how charitable he was. They wanted to see what was his breaking point. When did he stop being charitable and be thinking of himself first? And they were so pleased. They said, you don't think of yourself at all. We can understand your glories. Surely, at the end of this lifetime, you will attain the spiritual realm, the realm of Vaikuntha. We give you our full blessings that the Lord may grant this benediction to you. You have that qualification. So, trees serve. Great personalities like Ranti Dev also serves. And we're going to now hear a little story called The Giving Tree. I think that's what's next. Oh, excuse me, here's Mother Teresa as a contemporary person. Just a little sharing. In Chicago, they have an arrangement in the city of Chicago that there's a mayor, and then in the different regions of the city of Chicago, there's a councilman. And the councilman for where our Chicago temple is happened to be a great fan or an admirer of Mother Teresa. So on the occasion of Mother Teresa's leaving the world, we held a function in her honor, inviting the councilman to come to the temple and speak something about Mother Teresa along with everything else. And he was sharing the following story. He said he went one time and he was amazed that everything was very clean, and and everything was so well ordered, and people seemed to be so well cared for. So he offered, he said, I want to give something for you. So he gave some U.S. currency. And Mother Teresa held the money and said, when I see something like this, I can only think of how many cots or how many blankets or how many potatoes I can give. So I can't even think of using something for myself. It's just, because immediately it means how others can be served. She just expressed spontaneously like that. And he said it was so moved. Although what he wanted was something for her, she wouldn't accept it. She just wasn't in her capacity. She had the little that she had was what she needed, and her life was one of service. It was nice sharing. And because of that, she became so well known all over the world, just like, you know, a single little old lady. But her love was in service to others. Yeah. So now this is a little video of a little story, and I found out about it from a friend of mine, a god brother, disciple of Prabhupada, whose name is Abhiram. And he said when he had two children that are now grown up and married. But when they were growing up, especially with his son, he would sit on a regular basis once a month and go over the story with him. They would just read it out loud together, and then they would talk about what it means. What's the lesson? So I'm going to do that too. One of the times I did this was in Shanghai. We took the presentation and made Chinese subtitles for it. This is just as a voice narration, no words. But you know, just went around the room. It was at a yoga studio, and you know, people were crying, just you know, sharing what it meant to them. So we don't have any tissues, so nobody should cry today. But so the question at the end, and there's no right, wrong answer. It means many things. What does this mean to you? What's the message? That's the question I'm going to ask. So watch with that view in mind. What's the message that this speaks to you? Okay, so you're going to have to do it manually now to get it set up. How about this? You need this?
No.
It worked before.
Chaitanya Prabhu, directly connect to the TV. No TV, next off.
There's the sound. can go get my computer and I can play the audio from my computer, you do the video from your computer. You fix it between now and when I come back, that's fine. Technology is great when it works.
ఒకసారి ఇది ఆపితే నొక్కుదేమో చూడండి ఈ స్పీకర్కి దానికి ఏమైనా కనెక్షన్ అవుతుంది అది క్లాష్ అవుతుందా ఇందాక మీరు ఈవినింగ్ పెట్టినప్పుడు ఇది పెట్టలేదు కదా అప్పుడు ప్లే అయింది కదా
Prabhu, when it worked, that bottom one is on DVD H, not video.
ఇప్పుడు ఆన్ అసలు లేదు
Yeah,
వెళ్ళి
it
చెప్పు దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళి చెప్పు మళ్ళీ వీడియో వెనక్కి పెట్టున్నారా అది వాల్యూమ్ పెడుతున్నారు సౌండ్ పెడుతున్నారు
You can go back to the very beginning and I'll just play the audio from here. How's that? This one.
was often left alone. And then one day the boy came to the tree, and the tree said, "Come, boy, come climb up my trunk and swing from my branches and eat apples and play in my shade." "I'm too big to climb and play," said the boy. "I want to buy things and have fun. I want some money. Can you give me some money?" "I'm sorry," said the tree, "but I have no money. I have only leaves and apples. But take my apples, boy, and sell them in the city, and then you'll have money, and you'll be happy." And so the boy gathered up her apples and carried them away. And the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time, and the tree was sad. And then one day the boy came back, and the tree shook with joy, and she said, "Come, boy, come climb up my trunk and swing from my branches and have fun." "I'm too busy to climb trees," said the boy. "I need a house to keep me warm. I want a wife and I want children, so I need a house. Can you give me a house?" "I have no house," said the tree. "The forest is my house. But let me cut off my branches and build a house." And so the boy cut off her branches and carried them away to build his house. And the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long, long time. And when he came back, the tree was so happy she could hardly speak. "Come, boy," she whispered. "Come and play and have fun again." "I'm too old and sad to play," said the boy. "Life is not fun. I want a boat that will take me far away from here. Can you give me a boat?" "I have no boat," said the tree. "But you can cut down my trunk and make a boat. Then you can sail away. Be happy." And so the boy cut down her trunk, and he made a boat and sailed away, and the tree was happy. And after a long time, the boy came back again. "I'm sorry, boy," said the tree. "I have nothing left to give you. My apples are gone." "My teeth are too weak for apples now," said the boy. "My branches are gone too," said the tree. "You cannot swing on them." "I'm too old to swing on branches," said the boy. "Even my trunk is gone," said the tree. "You cannot climb." "I'm too tired to climb," said the boy. "I'm sorry," sighed the tree. "I wish that I could give you something, but I have nothing left. I'm just an old stump. I'm sorry." "I don't need very much now," said the
Now our surprise quiz. What's the message or the lesson that this story conveys to you? And there's many.
Tolerance. Tolerance. Tolerance.
Tolerance. Elaborate?
Because the man, he was boy and he was exploiting whatever. He's cutting the branches and he's taking the apple. So whatever situation, the tree always tried to give whatever it can provide. So he tolerated whatever he did to the tree.
Unconditional love, like mother.
Like mother. Yes. I noted the first time I heard it is the tree kept being referred to as she.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Service attitude.
Huh?
Serving attitude.
Say the full sentence.
Because the tree, whatever it was required, it was serving to that boy. Like he wanted first money, so he gave apples and so it was serving that boy.
Yes. Service mood.
Yes.
Okay, that was your Ken. Yeah.
There's a dynamics between the animate and inanimate. There are two things.
Expand.
The animate wanted things depending on its needs.
Hmm.
Inanimate is trying to give.
Hmm.
It gets exhausted.
Hmm.
I thought in the end, when the body falls, still needs a tree to burn his body. I thought that was, I was waiting for that. You ask on the stump, look, I am falling dead now, burn me. And tree says, you know what? Kill the golden goose already.
There was a story that old man felt very cold, and at the last he told that I'm feeling very cold, just help me. And he told, burn me and just
Warm.
Yes, warm. And that was the end. It was the story of 5th class of mine.
Oh, it was there?
Yeah.
This story goes on to that last part?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. In that school.
Uh-huh. Because the person that wrote the book is the narrator. His name is Shel Silverstein. And the story ends with what you saw. But you're saying the book, the actual Giving Tree book goes on one more step. Just like he said. Feeling, not funeral, but feeling cold.
Warm.
Anything else? Yes.
Attitude of service makes one happy. We can see the tree is giving and is feeling happy. The man is taking, but still he's miserable. Yeah, attitude of service keeps one happy.
Mm-hmm. So one who gives service finds happiness. One who simply takes doesn't find happiness. Yes? The opposite is also there.
Yeah, that is also true. Tree is happy in between all the time.
But he wants it more and more.
Yeah, giver is the happy.
There's never satisfaction.
Taker.
Receive, never satisfaction.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Anything else? These are all good. It can go on quite a bit longer. Let's see if we get a little creative. And some other messages or lessons.
I think we have unlimited desires, unlimited wishes, but everything is temporary. At the very end, it's all temporary.
It's all temporary. So desiring something temporary, and receiving it or not receiving it, the happiness isn't temporary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Example of giving oneself totally, not just some from us, but everything,
Yeah.
including ourselves.
Very nice. Very nice. Trees do that, and people are a little stingy about doing that. I mean, specifically like Mother Teresa, as an example, that what she is renowned for. And, you know, so, yeah. And such happiness she found. And similarly, people who give like that find their happiness. What else? Something very important. Let's see if you come up with some other points. You have something? Just pushing your glasses up? Anything you'd like to share? A lesson that you heard and understood? No? Well, it's kind of obvious, but I'll state it anyway. Those of us who are in a position of giving to others, it doesn't have to be mothers or parents giving to children. It can just be in any situation where we're giving unto others. If the giving stays on the material platform, the person who's on the receiving end will not be satisfied. In other words, the giving must be also in the spiritual dimension or spiritual realm. And according to spiritual teachings, when the soul or the self is satisfied having received spiritual well-being, then the hankering for the temporary subsides. So those of you that are parents or giving unto others, be sure that you give spiritual well-being along with whatever else you may also give. I had this experience one year. I was the chairman of the entire GBC. That was like daunting service. I'm not looking forward to doing that again anytime soon. They're like very intense. And no one trained me what to do. I just like, okay, it's my turn, and just we're thinking a little bit differently now. We have to train people to do such services. But in any case, during that year that I was serving as the chairman, there was others on the executive committee. One of those global calamities took place in Haiti, that big, whatever it was. What was it? A tsunami? Or no, it wasn't a tsunami. Earthquake. So it was a global disaster. So there was, because I was the chairman, there were people asking, can I do something to help? And there was others saying, what is ISKCON doing to help? And no one gave me, this emergency, like get on an airplane, they tell you 500 times what to do if there's an emergency, but there wasn't any plan. And I knew we should do something, but I didn't know what that something was. So I just found somebody that I knew who was responsible in Santo Domingo. Would you be willing to be the contact person for those who wish to help going over to Haiti? He said, sure, because I know, how to get from here to there, so forth. So he became the contact person, and then literally devotees from all over the world wanted to go there and do something. So some of them had skills on how to build homes from nothing, and some of them, had medical supplies, and they knew how to administer medical supplies in a crisis situation. Somebody else this and somebody else that. It was really awesome. And they had this, and they were getting funds from global supports, this and that. But their position was, while we're doing this, because there was one person who had done this in previous situations, fortunately, and they, along with giving medicines and clothing and food and building homes, they had this principle that whenever they would give something, they would also give the holy name and engage people in the chanting of the holy name and cooking together, chanting the holy name and serving food to people, and like that. So and then they had literature in French. The French BBT supplied literatures in French language so that they could distribute the literatures, messages of Bhagavad Gita to the people of Haiti in their native language. So it was a very wonderful learning experience. In fact, I was traveling through Heathrow Airport and I saw all these people that were devotees, and I walked up to them and said, "Hey, you know, you're Hare Krishna devotees?" They said, "Yes, we're going to Haiti." I said, "Oh, wow." You know, so, and they had just kind of collected themselves somehow, networking, social networking, I don't know if it was even Facebook at that time, but they knew how to connect with others, and they knew what their job was. It was to help people on the physical plane in a crisis situation, but also give spiritual well-being, spiritual messages, spiritual lessons, and spiritual care. It was really nice. Similar, so with the principle of giving, because this is the giving tree, give spiritually as well, as necessities, part of the spirit of giving and the principle